we're hoping we can get the CV boots changed here on the 928, because they're kind of torn up, and you can't really see it too well here, but you can see it's dry rotted, and yeah, there you go, hole in it. So all we did so far is take the wheel off and use the impact gun to get the nut off. So now we got to see if we can't get all the bolts off back here. Alright, well, so far fortunes are good, and these things are coming loose without too much hassle. Just get the hex key in there good, and parking brakes on to hold it. And they're turning loose. So we'll just get the rest of them off, and then hopefully we can get the axle out, and even, the couple that we did loosen already, and look, they're finger tight now that they're cracked loose. So one benefit of a California car. Alright, well, we took the rear muffler delete off the car, so those pipes are off. Undid the hanger here. This is hanging down, undid the clamps up front. So I made an important observation while I was monkeying with that. We're moving the rear exhaust pipe around enough. Well, hey, look at this. One axle, one exhaust pipe, past it. So we don't actually need to get it all the way off up there. And that's good enough. So now if we can just tap the axle on out. Coordination to swing a hammer. Is that enough to get us out? Oh my. Oh, looky there. One axle. Oh, so we got our axle off. So this is the end, I believe, that we can actually get the joint apart on. Then we have to slide the joint up to here, because I think this end's welded on. But you can kind of see here how that was. That definitely was not great. The inside boot actually isn't bad, but of course we're going to change it. But so it was only this one that was torn, and God knows how old it is. So not really that surprising. Alright, so here's the end of the boot. We can hear the axle. So let's see if we can't get the clamp off of here and get this boot off and see what we're working with. Probably ought to just cut this. Oh, no, we don't need to cut the boot. There we go. It's coming off. There we go. That boot, and whatever's left of this boot. So, let's see. Grease isn't dirty, but there's still grease in it. So, it doesn't look like there's any obvious clumps of dirt or metal in there, so hopefully we're good just fixing this. Okay, we're just trying to get this cap off the end. The kit comes with a new one, so no issue that we're mangling it a bit. believe this is what's, once we get this off, we should be able to see if we can get or how to get the joint apart. Oh yes. Yep, that's one dirty CV joint. The grease is old for sure. But I think in here we will find a C-clip. Yeah, there's a circlip. So that's what we got to get off. And then I think we'll be able to knock the joint off the shaft. So I tapped on here a little bit. And you can see it actually is coming away from it there. The best thing to do would be if we could get this cap off, and then we could, you know, put the part of the CV against the jaws of the vise and be able to tap it out. I don't have a new cap for that. I didn't really see any talk of them online, so I don't want to damage it, but I think a little bit of light tapping is not going to hurt us here. We're not going to do anything overkill. We're just going to do this slow and gentle. So as long as we don't see it deforming that, I think we'll be good. Sure we're in there a good way, so it's spreading it out as much as possible. But yeah, we're moving it. Yay, we're failing. But that's already put that down below the surface of that. Doesn't look like we're putting enough force on this cap that we're damaging it. We're so close. We're out. Yep. There you go. No press needed. We didn't damage anything, and we got the joint out. Now, we don't want to let this thing actually come apart and have pieces going everywhere, because then to put it back together, but if we keep it like this, we should be able to clean it out and get some fresh grease in it. Okay, so we've squeezed 2 tubes of fresh grease into the joint after we cleaned out all the old stuff. And this is the inner, or the outer end. So, per the advice of Dwayne on Renlist, you stick your finger on the end, because there's a hole on the end of the axle. Stick your finger on that end, stick your finger over this end, and you kind of pull it apart. So you'll do something like this with your finger over the end. You just, you know, work it up and down. You keep your finger on it while you work up and take it off while you push it back down. And that'll slowly suck grease into the joint. So we got this one all greased up. So now we can get the boot over it. There we go. Come on, boot. There we go. Clip there, and we will pinch her off. And same thing with the small clamp as soon as I find it. oriented, but yeah, so we got as much grease packed in the joint as we're going to until we get the get it on the axles. I think we got that all the way in there. And now we're ready for the snap ring. I guess we have these new snap rings we can use so we don't have to fight with that old circlip. But I think a little bit of teasing here. I probably should have left it alone the first time. There we go. Now we're all the way in. We'll just make sure we're all good. So that ends all together. So we can get a little more grease in there. A little more grease in the boot side. And then we'll be ready to go with this axle. Alright, so we got the cap on the inner side. We made sure we put a couple bolts through it so that the holes on it line up. Got it packed full of grease, so now just got to get the boot slid down into place, and then we will be ready to get it back in the car. Just like before, it's sitting on the vise. This didn't hurt anything when I did the other side, so we'll just go at it slowly here. So anyway, we're going to try and get this thing apart in an orderly manner. So find our number 1 ball here. And get some paper towels to wipe them off with. Anyway, the plan is to get them out and stick them to the tape in order so that we keep them in order. Off. That isn't working at all. So right there. So we got all the balls out in order. We know where this goes. We know that dot goes towards the outside of the axle. Then we know the zip tie on the part that doesn't come out, apparently, matches up with that. I don't know what it's cooperating for now, but just now making sure it's completely flat in the vise and giving it some good smacks with the big sledge is getting it to move a little bit. Just imagine how much of a pain this is going to be to get back on. Yep. fresh grease in there and not outside the joint where I just got it. There we go. Then plate. Then straighten up through to fold it over. There we go. Back on the axle. And see if we can't hit this on. It's a pain to get off, and it's going to be a pain to get on. Might be enough to get our snap ring on. Is it? Come on. Come on, none of you other ones try to escape. Ugh. Yes. And this is important. If it doesn't move like this up and down, it's in wrong. Squeeze grease in there. There we go. Alright, parking brake is set, so we can tighten these to spec. And no matter what anybody says, it just flat out is not true that a longer bit like this will throw off the torque spec. Because, while yes, it may deflect some, that torque is still getting transferred to the bolt. It's not escaping. If this was an impact and it was doing a bunch of successive hits, that would be true. That's how torque sticks work. But by hand, it just isn't how it works. Axle nut on. Come on. There we go. So now we just got to put the exhaust back on, but that's easy enough to do. So that more or less wraps up what we got to do here. So you just got to put the wheels back on and we're good to go. These old ones are too thin to be machined now. Yep, that works. Okay, let's try this bolt I found that does thread into the jack screw hole. There you go, one rotor. And we'll clean up the mating surface. Alright, we've got our new rotor here. Looks like it's all coated in zinc or something so that it doesn't rust, so I don't think it's got oil on it, but we'll spray it down anyway. There we go. Alright, so what I've done is put the parking brake on one click. So now I can adjust it until they drag a bit, and then take it like that. And then when I take it off, they shouldn't drag at all, hopefully. Alright, well, we got our pads in, so just got to fish the wear sensor back through. And we should be able just to squeeze that back together and be good to go here. Ow. Damn you, physics. Apparently these are just hard to do. That works. We went out and used the brakes some. I'll shut the AC off now. But we went out and used the brakes some. And it seems like they're wearing a little better to the rotor now. See, this one wasn't making much contact at the outer edge, and yeah, it's working its way up there. A lot more, like from about there up, wasn't touching before, so they're wearing in.